Christopher Columbus's brother, Bartholomew Columbus, built the city of Santo Domingo. Did you know he had a brother?
No, I did not.
I've literally never heard of that guy.
Yeah. Well, he'd be like, well, I don't know. Everybody thinks Christopher's so great. He can't even find India, like the biggest country out there.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Short Pour, where we are finally finishing the season of the lighter side. We're your hosts. I'm Chris.
And I'm Brandon. This week we're going to be doing Presidente Light. This is a beer I brought back from a trip to the Dominican Republic. It was one of only two options to drink there. You can either drink Presidente or Presidente Light. And I wanted to end it with this one.
Yeah, the whole country. That's it.
I assume it's got to be an island thing where, like, it's just so much more expensive to import other things. Like, we'll just drink the beer we have here.
That's true. The back of the bottle for this one, while we pour, is Ingredientes 100% naturales, which means 100% natural ingredients, which I would hope. La suave con carácter, which literally translates to the soft one with character, which I think is hilarious. I don't think that's what they mean.
Ooh, soft.
Yeah, I'm sure it's supposed to mean like the light one with character, but I do like the literal translation of the soft one with character.
Yeah, I guess I've never thought about a beer being soft, but
I feel like that's a good way. Like, that's like Timothy Chalamet's like whole MO. The soft one with character.
That is actually a pretty good tagline for him.
And then the last thing on the bottle or the can is they label the beer as a Pilsner, which is a much better way, I feel like, to say Pilsner. Pilsner.
Oh, yeah.
And it comes in at a 4.1% ABV.
We drink it?
Yep, I'm ready.
Tastes just like my vacation.
I feel like I get kind of like an apple thing going.
Oh, you know what? Actually, I think I do too.
Yeah, it tastes kind of like crisp apple.
I hadn't thought about that until you said it, but you're right, actually. I can see that.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, it's nothing special, but it's not bad.
No. I will say, this does hit a little better when you're, like, sweating balls on the beach because it's so freaking humid there.
Yeah, I'm sure it does.
It hit really well during that time. So we'll look at a couple of reviews for this one. So the first one, the beer of the Dominican Republic and the number one beer in the Caribbean deserve to be drank by the ocean. We couldn't get to a tropical island, so the New Hampshire seacoast had to do. While it says it's a Pilsner, it drinks more like a Mexican lager with some of that Euro lager skunk. We shoved a lime in the top, and that was a great touch. Like Big Papi at the plate, we hit home run.
Okay, when you first started, I thought whenever they said this one had to be drunk by the ocean, I thought that was like an overdramatic way to say it was a drain pour. Like, they were like, this was so bad, I just poured it in the ocean.
I think that's what they were saying until I feel like they're saying that they saved it with the lime at the end. But yeah, everything up to that point makes it seem bad.
Well, once they finished, I'm pretty sure they just meant, like, literally they were like, oh, we figured that we needed to be near the ocean when we drank it.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know.
That's what I think they meant now. At first, though, it definitely sounded like they were like, yeah, just pour it in the ocean.
Yeah.
This show's first ever ocean pour.
Yeah. So the second person said, it grow on ya. I'm not a big fan of Pilsner, but Precious wanted to go to a Dominican all-inclusive resort.
Is that it?
No, it keeps going.
Okay.
That line is funny. And the only beer they serve there is their local beer, El Presidente. They call it Agua Dominicana, Dominican Water. I picked up a 6-pack to try it, and I wasn't happy. It was drinkable, but I wasn't crazy about it. But then came our trip, 5 days at a tropical resort in Dominican Republic. The only beer was El Presidente and El Presidente Light. I grew to like it. Then I grew to love it. I was pounding these bad boys. The last day I had 10 beers before lunch, and as the bus took us away, I almost had a tear in my eye. Almost.
Hi.
Okay, so it's not the best beer in the world, but it is now one of my faves because it reminds me of a great week hanging out with some extremely awesome people. Like I said, it did hit different, sweating profusely on the beach.
Oh, I'm sure. And I'm sure most people who drink this, who are not from the Dominican Republic, are only drinking it because they're on vacation in the Dominican Republic. So
Right.
I feel like it is kind of like a, tied to that. But I do like the idea of at the beginning him being like Gollum, like, it grow on you, precious.
Yeah. Yeah, but Precious wanted to go to the Dominican all-inclusive resort. Okay, so with this episode, since I took my trip here, I decided to research the Dominican Republic.
Oh, okay.
So we'll talk a little bit about that. There's obviously, the entire history of a country. There's a ton there, and it gets into like this huge like geopolitical like conflicts. But I'll try to go through some of the highlights and then a couple things that I just like learned along the way.
All right, sounds good. And we'll hear all about that after this word from our sponsor.
Attention! If you or a loved one has consumed Peter Peener's peanut butter, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Peanut butter has been found to contain an amount of undisclosed bodily fluids that have been known to react with jams or jellies. Please contact the law offices of Victoria Vaginer for free consultation and information packet. Together we can put this bad peener in its place.
All right, so for the history of the Dominican Republic, we're going to treat it as like that country. Obviously, the island and area existed before that, but we're just going to focus on like the Dominican Republic part of it.
Okay, gotcha.
So when Columbus was sailing the ocean blue in 1492, he initially claimed the island for Spain. It was actually the first one that got claimed. And in 1496, this is where I like had my mind blown. Christopher Columbus's brother, Bartholomew Columbus, built the city of Santo Domingo. Did you know he had a brother?
No, I did not.
I've literally never heard of that guy.
Bartholomew Columbus. Dude, that is, I feel like, ripe for like an animated sitcom.
Yeah. It's just like, that's got to be like the ultimate like living in your brother's shadow thing of like, hey man, I built this whole city. Like, yeah, well, I discovered an entire new continent.
Yeah. Well, he'd be like, well, I don't know. Everybody thinks Christopher is so great. He can't even find India, like the biggest country out there.
Yeah.
Dude, that would be so good.
So Bartholomew helped build the city of Santo Domingo. It just says he built it. I mean, like, surely he didn't build it himself. I don't know if that means he planned it or...
Yeah, surely he oversaw it.
Right, yeah, I guess he was just in charge of it.
Or maybe he was just the guy who came in and was like, hey, let's build a city.
Yeah, that's why they don't talk about Bartholomew.
Yeah.
So this was the first European settlement in the Americas. And the colony as a whole was initially referred to as Santo Domingo. And it is... because of that, it's kind of referred to as like country of firsts because it had it was the first one of like the, quote unquote new world. So it has the first Catholic cathedral, the first university, the first hospital, and the first capital city of the Americas.
Okay, yeah, that's sweet. So like all those banks that always claim to be the first bank of whatever, they actually have that first bank of the Americas there.
First bank of the Americas, yeah. I don't know, maybe they do. So they were named after Saint Dominic, and this was another thing I learned. Do you know what he's the patron saint of?
I don't.
I mean, I guess I don't really know why you would know necessarily, but he's the patron saint of astronomers. Did you know that they had their own saint?
Oh.
I had no idea.
No. Yeah, that seems wild, dude.
Yeah, so Saint Dominic. That's where they kind of came up with the name.
What does he do for them?
I don't know.
What does he do for them? Like, he helps the night sky, like...
I know you're thinking of the one who helps you find lost things.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking of. So, like, what does he do for them? Like, he helps clear the night sky, or, like, he's the one that, like, makes the stars align, or, like...
I don't know. Maybe he just makes the stars shine.
Shine bright like a diamond?
Yeah. Hey, Rihanna's from the Caribbean.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
So this is all kind of starting to line up.
It's all starting to make sense.
So the initial inhabitants of the island at the time were called I think it's Taino people. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But they kind of went through the same thing that we know other people inhabiting the Americas did. The Europeans came over and they were exposed to all these different diseases. So, like smallpox, measles, and their numbers started to dwindle from all these new illnesses. There was one in the Wikipedia page. It mentions one fight. It only mentions Europeans dying in the fight. So I don't know if they were just like a 300 scenario where they're just like way better fighters, or they just had no way of, recording what happened with them. I don't know.
Yeah. Little context for the why is Saint Dominic the patron saint of astronomers? And, only from one source here, but it says it is unclear why Saint Dominic was the patron saint of astronomers. The only indication is that there were multiple visions relating to stars and the moon regarding his birth. His mother also saw a moon on his head in a dream. Dude, he's like the scrap patron saint, man. They were like, we got to make him one. There's a moon and there's some astronomers. I get, yeah, patron saint of astronomers, cool.
Yeah, it's like the flimsiest claim to being the saint.
Yeah. Well, my mom saw a moon over my head in a dream once. Yeah.
Yeah. So the initial European settlement, it seems like, was kind of like covering the whole island. And then eventually the Western Third was recognized as being in French dominion, so like a French colony and not Spain. And that eventually became Haiti in 1804.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So then we go through a kind of tumultuous period.
The previous wasn't tumultuous?
No. That was pretty tame compared to what's about to happen.
God. Okay.
So the Dominicans declared independence from Spain in November of 1821.
Okay.
Then 3 months later, in the February of 1822, they got annexed by Haiti.
Oh my God.
Which has got to be like an odd dynamic of like, hey, we take up 1/3 of the country, but we're going to take over this other 2/3 that we used to have.
Well, I mean, kind of like a Portugal scenario where, I mean, they took over all of Brazil and more for a period, and their main land was much smaller.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, okay. You're right. It just seems like such a weird thing.
Yeah, it does.
They only had independence for 3 months. Oh, come on. So they then won another war for their independence in 1844. And then I don't know exactly what happened, but in Wikipedia, it just says they then went through civil wars.
Oh, no. Yeah.
I don't know how many that actually means.
They lost count.
To the point where Wikipedia doesn't even feel like just like, you know what, just a bunch of shit happened.
Yeah.
They then returned to being a Spanish colony again. They had a dictatorship, an assassination of that dictator. They elected a president the following year. The next year, there was a coup against that president. They had another civil war. And then by 1978, they had become a representative democracy. Of just like, geez, man. Like, there were times where it's like within a year of like, yeah, we're in a totally different situation now.
So for a while then, this beer would have been known as Dictator Light.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, dude. And the wild part is like some of these things were happening within like a year or in the same year of each other.
Yeah, like months. Jesus.
Yes, of just like, yeah, we had a president for a couple months, but that didn't last very long.
Yeah, it didn't work out too well.
Yeah.
That's nuts, man.
Right. So this is the most visited island in the Caribbean. And like during my time there, I was just in an all-inclusive resort, so I didn't really get to experience much of the like actual country other than from the airport and then the drive to the all-inclusive resort, really. Mm-hmm. But all the people were super nice. There was tons of music going on. The island like looked super beautiful as we were like flying in. Like there's just like so much green everywhere. At least the parts that we flew over. I will say while we were at the resort, they had workers there. I think you remember from ours, they would have people come around and try to get you to join the like aerobic, water aerobics class or play beach volleyball, whatever. They had someone come around every day and would organize a giant baseball game.
Oh, dude, that's sweet.
Obviously, like they love baseball. So there are 5 Dominican-born players that are currently in the Baseball Hall of Fame. Do you want to take a guess at any of them?
Big Papi, David Ortiz.
Yep, David Ortiz is in there. Some other big names: Pedro Martinez, Albert Pujols, Manny Ramirez.
Oh, dang. Okay. I guess I never think of Albert Pujols since he went to Fort Osage.
Fort Osage, yeah. He went to a high school near us, yeah.
Yeah.
Vladimir Guerrero.
Ah, okay.
Sammy Sosa. Duh.
Oh, dang. Okay, yeah. I guess I didn't realize that he was Dominican.
Yeah, Bartolo Colon.
Oh, yeah, I should have known. I should have known him. Ventura was Dominican, right? Giordano?
No, I think he was Venezuelan.
Oh, no. No, he was Dominican.
Oh, was he really? Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
He was.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I loved that guy.
Yeah, he was super fun to watch.
He was awesome. Yeah, Giordano Ventura was a really awesome player to watch.
Yeah, he was electric to see pitch.
Yeah. There's a couple unpopular players here in Kansas City. Jose Bautista.
Oh, yeah.
And then Robinson Cano. Dude, those two might be the two most hated players in Kansas City.
Why do we hate Robinson Cano?
The year we were hosting the All-Star game, Billy Butler was having like a pretty good first half of the season.
Yeah.
And it was like, I forget how it worked out. Like the captain or somehow Robinson Cano was in charge of choosing another player to represent the American League. And everyone was like, dude, pick the guy whose city is hosting it. And he didn't pick him. He picked someone else. But that year, every time Robinson Cano went up to bat, he got booed so heavily. It was awesome.
Yeah, I do remember.
I loved it. It was so loud. People just hate that guy here.
That's such like a petty reason too.
I know. Hey, you didn't pick our guy who's just okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like he was like, he wasn't. I mean, he was technically an all-star because we had to send someone, but
Billy!
it's not like, yeah, dude, that Billy Bello thing, man. We might be the only people that know about that. Besides the guy who sent in that. But I assume the guy that sent in the text, or what was it, a phone call, or what was it?
Yeah, I've started this sort of Billy Bello.
Bello, yeah. Man. Yeah, we might be the only two people that actually do anything with that.
Yeah, still reference it.
All right, so finishing up with baseball. I was trying to look up, like, how long has baseball been, popular there, and, like, kind of how was it introduced in the Dominican?
Uh-huh.
So I was looking it up, and it seems like it's one of those things where there's, like, almost, like, kind of, like, theories of, like, we assume it was this, but I got a few different kind of answers.
Okay.
So the first one was that baseball was introduced by Cuban sugar moguls in the 1870s.
Whoa.
It became really popular to play on plantations during like the dead time for the growing season. And eventually companies started to like sponsor teams, and that's what led to the like growth of baseball.
Nice, that's cool. Okay.
Another source said that it was from Cuban immigrants that were trying to flee the 10 Years' War. And so then they, there was a flood of people, refugees, and they shared the love of their sport there.
Just brought it over.
Another one said that it was English colonists that were playing cricket, and they adapted the sport from there.
What? That seems
wild. See, that one seems like the least, because I feel like that was like led to the development of baseball in the U.S.
Yeah.
First, but I don't know. And the last one says that it was from U.S. Marines that were stationed there, and they introduced baseball. I don't know. It could also be like all of the. I guess I don't know when the 10 Years' War was, or I mean, I can't imagine we had Marines there in the 1870s. But yeah, maybe it's some sort of combination of everything. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows, dude? It's also crazy just because it says that at least last year Players from the Dominican made up 11% of all of MLB rosters.
Yeah, I think they are the second, but besides the U.S., they have the second most representation in the majors, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah. All right, that'll wrap us up for this one. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening. As always, if you want to like or subscribe, please follow us on Instagram at Short Podcast or send us a suggestion through email at shortpourpod@gmail.com.
And whether you pour short
Or pour long.
always finish.